Hello, my name is Justine Carr and I just graduated from New York University. I was in the university's College of Arts and Sciences and graduated with a degree in political science. A little bit about the campus. One of my favorite things about the campus at NYU is that there really is no campus. The university is spread throughout the entire city. A lot of the main buildings are around what's called Washington Square Park, which is a really nice and cool neighborhood, but if you do decide to come to NYU, chances are you're going to have courses all over the city, which in my opinion is one of the best things about it. One thing a lot of students love about NYU, including myself, is the number of cafeterias. I think there are maybe 6, 7, 8, I'm not even sure, but there are tons of different cafeterias with different types of food. You can get fast food if that's what you're into. There are salad bars everywhere. There are ones that are open all hours of the day, so that's another great thing about NYU. As far as accommodation is concerned, NYU offers a lot of on-campus housing, which is pretty competitive to get because it is in New York City and space is so limited. One of the great things, though, is that a lot of the NYU dorm buildings were converted hotel rooms. So you don't have the typical college experience where you'd be sharing one giant bathroom with the entire floor, which is a huge plus. You only share your bathroom with, your 2 or 3 roommates. For my first 3 years at NYU, I was in university housing. Actually, my first 2 years. My first 2 years I was in university housing, and the last year I actually moved to an apartment in Brooklyn. And I think both of them have their, pros and cons. The pros of being on campus is that you're close to everything and everyone, and there's always activities going on, but one great thing about living off campus is that you truly feel like you're more part of the city as opposed to just part of the university itself. One thing at NYU that is a disadvantage is that it's hard to find a sense of community because the whole university is huge and is encompassed throughout the entire city. So they don't have the greatest sense of community, but I think NYU makes up for it in the opportunities that you're provided with just based on the location of the university itself. Especially compared to a lot of my friends who went to a lot of top universities in other parts of the United States. Being in New York City, you can have any internship in any area of study, area of focus, anything at all, which is absolutely great. As a political science major, I had internships at NYU with law research centers, at broker-dealer firms in finance, at investment analyst firms, investment research firms, all across the board. And I think that experience in New York City really gave me a leg up when it came to searching for jobs after graduation. Two things that NYU is known for are 2 programs. It's the business school, Stern, and also Tisch, the School of Performing Arts. I think at NYU those are the 2 top colleges within the university. They're both very, very, very competitive academically and well known throughout the entire world. And I know a lot of great people who came out of those programs and are doing wonderful things today. As far as me personally with political science, I focused more on analytical politics and decided to focus on kind of the analytical relationship internationally. I took courses, some of my favorite courses that I've taken have been in, game theory and strategy and elections and voting and analyzing why people vote the way they do and how different government systems affect the outcomes of nation building, things like that. And I've had a number of favorite professors, too many professors that I like. I need to name a few. Professor Brams was one of them. He wrote this great book called Mathematics and Democracy. And another favorite professor of mine is Professor Tucker. And his focus was more so on the elections and voting in Eastern Europe. although I mentioned earlier that there's not the greatest sense of community, if you are a go-getter, you will have no problem finding things to do because the number of activities that NYU offers is absolutely endless. And one of the great things about NYU is that if they don't offer an activity that you would like to participate in, you have the option of starting that organization or activity, and it's as simple as finding an advisor, and the funding is approved just like that. I mean, if you want to have an organization that, you know, gives free cookies to students at 2 in the morning during finals week, you can create that organization no problem with the support of an advisor. Another great thing about NYU is that they offer so many study abroad programs and organizations. They actually have a number of NYU campuses. I know in Florence, London, Paris, I think Shanghai, Abu Dhabi, just to name a few, and then also almost anywhere else in the entire world that you could want to travel and study, you could go to. Personally, I studied abroad in Florence, Italy for a year and absolutely loved the experiences. Just living and staying in Europe and learning about Renaissance art was something that I just don't think many other universities could have supplied, especially the campus itself in Italy was a property with 5 different villas situated on it. It wasn't like they just threw you up in some old apartment building in Italy. You actually were living in a villa with, you know, you were surrounded by olive orchards, and it was just, overall, it was just an absolutely great experience. Another thing about student life or activities at NYU, there is a fraternity and sorority life here, but it's very, very, very small. I think there are maybe 1 or 2 fraternities and 1 or 2 sororities, and I know I've seen them around campus raising money for different charitable organizations and things like that, but their presence is very small at NYU. And sports at NYU, I'd say the 2 most popular sports here are basketball and volleyball. And the least popular sport, I would have to say, is football, because we do not have a football team, which is pretty strange for an American university. But I think we make up for that by, you know, our location, the opportunities, and everything else that I mentioned earlier. And another great thing about NYU is that you do not have to be physically, you know, gifted in any way, shape, or form if you want to participate in sports. There are tons and tons of amateur leagues for volleyball, basketball, swimming, I mean anything and everything. If you and your group of friends who are just not coordinated at all want to start a, you know, basketball team, you can, and you'll compete against other people just like yourselves, and that's one of the great things about sports at NYU. In my case, I just took the ACT. I did not take any SATs or anything like that, and I got a 35, and my GPA was a 3.95 in high school. So I think that sums everything up. I hope if you guys do choose to come to NYU, you have a great experience, and have a good day.